going to do something a bit unusual because I'm terrible at doing keynotes. So the best way to do this is we're having like a fireside panel discussion between me and my co-founder, Jason. But to begin with, I'd like to start with a bit of preamble. Usually when I do these talks, I like to reference speculative fiction, and I always use the Polish-American author Stanisław Lem and his work Solaris to explain metaverse, but it's tired. I've had eye rolls from people every time I do this, so I'm changing it up. So back in the early 90s, Neil Stephenson gave us the word metaverse. See, still speculative fiction, so I'm on track. So it's a virtual world layered over the real one with potential, rich potential, but also plagued by human flaws. So if we fast forward to today, it's 2025, 3 decades later, and we are not in a sci-fi novel, but we are in actual cities and industries and infrastructure projects that are using real-time data. They're using immersive technologies for the better planning. So as I was introduced earlier, my name is Joe Appleton. I'm the Smart City Director at BizzTech, and rather fittingly, I'm joined by the founder of BizzTech, or one of the co-founders, Jason Schuster. So Jason, would you like to introduce yourself and introduce BizzTech for us?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe. Yes, I'm Jason Schuster. I'm the co-founder and COO here at BizzTech, and I'm over here in Austin, Texas. Sorry that I couldn't be there in wonderful Germany today. I would have loved to. It would have been fantastic. A little bit about BizzTech. BizzTech is a technology company. We're a metaverse platform provider. And what that means is that we're providing the actual infrastructure for these metaverse applications that are being built. Now, when we say metaverse, like Joe said, he gave a good definition, but I'd like to maybe even simplify it a little more. And that is really the internet in 3D. And this is the way that Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, described it as well. It's the internet in 3D, but that also means it's not just visualization. It's all the other things that go with it, all the things that we can't see. It includes things like generative AI, agentic AI. In some cases, it includes technologies like blockchain. So it's really all of those things put together. For us, we really focus on the visualization. We focus on highly realistic graphics, and we focus on things like agentic AI, and we focus on industries where it's more part of the infrastructure. So we stay away from the places like the social applications like Facebook, like Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, for instance. So we don't have anything to do with Meta, the company. We have our own platform, our own technologies, and so this is why we're here at this conference and not at some sort of social conference in San Francisco.
Okay, Jason, thank you very much. So I don't know if you can see the audience, but I'll describe it for you, because I'm going to ask a question. Who thinks metaverse is actually useful for the designing of cities? Hands up if you think it's useful. Oh, that's a poor showing. Come on. I'm sorry, Jason, for the benefit of you not being able to see us, I only see about 5 hands. So I think this is our opportunity to change their minds, which is a good thing. So if I can just switch to our slides quickly, I might have to kick you off, Jason.
No worries.
Can we move to our slides, please? Okay. So let's do something a little bit back towards fiction and fiction writing. Let's do show, don't tell. Let's show you what we're doing here at BizzTech.
Welcome to BizzTech, where digital innovation meets real-world impact. We're transforming how cities, industries, and communities interact with technology. Using AI, digital twins, and the photorealistic metaverse, we optimize urban planning, enhance industrial efficiency, and create immersive educational and collaborative spaces. This isn't just tech, it's the future, and it's happening now. Let's dive in.
How BizzTech builds photorealistic digital twins. This interactive environment, created for the city of Montgomery, is powered by Gaussian splatting, a cutting-edge process that merges high-resolution video in LiDAR scans. We captured over 5 kilometers of the city. An AI-driven pipeline transforms this data into splats, each encoding color, opacity, and depth to generate a seamless, lifelike 3D experience. Unlike traditional photogrammetry, Gaussian splatting excels at managing complex geometry without stitching errors, delivering an accurate and fully immersive environment. It is the largest area ever rendered in real time using this technology. The BizzTech platform brings the entire city to your fingertips, allowing planners to simulate, test, and decide before the first move is made. Inside the urban metaverse, city builders meet in shared virtual space, making decisions together instantly and interactively. Results matter. BizzTech translates urban complexity into clear KPIs, giving decision makers the foresight to lead wisely. Meet HEL 8122, BizzTech's agentic AI. Continuously absorbing millions of signals, it senses the pulse of environments in real time, whether in cities, factories, or campuses. When conditions shift, HEL 8122 doesn't wait. It predicts disruptions, simulates outcomes, and acts before issues escalate. As a strategic co-planner, HEL 8122 enables smarter logistics, more agile operations, and more inclusive access across urban, industrial, and educational domains.
The future of education isn't coming, it's already here. Introducing BizzTech's Metaverse for Education. This isn't just a platform, it's a living, breathing ecosystem where learning, collaboration, and smart campus management all come together. BizzTech is accessible from any computer or mobile device, anywhere in the world. It scales effortlessly from one learner to thousands in a shared environment. Thanks to cloud rendering, even the oldest devices deliver cutting-edge graphics. Explore the campus, meet new people, talk face-to-face using real voice and video. With integrated matchmaking, students can form study groups or just make friends, instantly. Real-world classes can be projected into the metaverse in real time or delivered entirely in the virtual space using whiteboards, screen sharing, and collaboration tools. 10 students or 10,000, no walls, no limits.
In the BizzTech Metaverse, thousands of users exist together in a shared world.
Step into ancient cities, abstract simulations, or futuristic labs. VR lets educators build immersive training environments where students learn through doing. Our environments can be filled with AI-powered characters you can speak to, each with their own history, experiences, and life, matching the environment.
I've seen so much that really opened my eyes. Like, just last week, I heard stories from people who tried to register to vote and were turned away because of their race. It's heartbreaking.
At the heart of it all is HAL 8122, BizzTech's agentic AI. It listens, it acts, it thinks. From voice control of the virtual world to real-world building automation, HAL connects it all.
HAL, show me population density.
With a single command, HAL can take control of HVAC, lights, optimize energy, and much more at a device-by-device level. Maximize efficiency with an AI who is always on and always thinking. HAL 8122 can manage an entire campus or a single asset, reducing costs and effort. HAL not only thinks, it sees. HAL can watch for signs of cheating, AI-generated content, or struggling students. Its vision model can understand what's written on screens or even on paper, respond accordingly, and generate reports. BizzTech is redefining education. Accessible, scalable, intelligent. The classroom has no walls. The students have no borders. This is education, unlimited.
We are BizzTech, and we'd love to hear from you.
Well, thank you very much for that. Jason, are you with us?
I am.
Okay, you can hear us. Let's skip to the next slide rather than, hold on. There we go. So, Jason, I'd like to ask you, what's the difference between generative AI and agentic AI? Why are we talking about agentic AI, and what makes it better than generative?
Well, the first thing that makes agentic AI different than generative AI is that no one is talking about it incessantly. No, I'm sorry, that's a joke. I know everyone's really talking about generative AI and the impact that it has, and it has had a massive impact on not just organizations but society as a whole. But agentic AI is really that next evolution, and this is where we all need to bring our heads. When we're talking about AI agents, we're talking about an actual digital workforce. We're talking about agents that can learn, that can reason, that can perform tasks, but also learn as they're doing those tasks, and they're persistent. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They never stop. And so they're constantly learning and adapting to the environment that they're in. In the video that we just saw, there was kind of a mention of that a little bit, and you kind of saw it a little bit in the building. But it's automatically making compensations based on real world data. So that's really the biggest difference, is that this is really more of this has a much bigger real world application for cities, for industries, et cetera, than even generative has.
Is my mic on? Yes. One thing you might have missed from a previous session on a panel was the conversation about silos and breaking silos, which is a smart city topic that's something we can't avoid and always talk about. But in recent conversations with our good friends at NVIDIA, for example, we talk now about we don't need to break silos, actually. Keep the silos, by all means. Using agentic AI is one way to actually communicate between these silos effectively without the ivory tower mentality that you often get with certain city departments, for example. So could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Absolutely. So, what would sorry? Let me gather my thoughts for a second. So, what we would have in a system like that, let's just say that it's incredibly siloed. Let's say it's your typical city. Cities are unbelievably siloed. It's very often that one department has no idea what another department is doing. In some cases, they're actually trying to solve the same problem with different solutions. When we deploy an agentic system in a organization like that, each of those organizations will have their own set of agents that know everything that there is to know about that organization, and those agents will communicate with a master agent that ties it all together. So even if the human employees are not communicating well and breaking down those silos, the agents can coordinate perfectly. And so there's no need to break down the silos, if you will, because everything will be smooth anyway.
Thank you very much, Jason. So let's talk about metaverse in general. So as you mentioned, Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse, which is absolutely nothing like what we're doing. How could you can you paint us a picture of what a real urban metaverse looks like today, and maybe give some examples of where we're already using it and where it's already been deployed?
Absolutely. So when we're talking about the urban metaverse, we're really talking about a holistic metaverse. We're not talking about just, okay, here's a visual twin of a city and you can kind of walk around and talk to your friends. Really what we're talking about is the visual twin, which is, can be done with Gaussian splatting or many other different techniques. It can be done with programs like Cesium, et cetera. But then it's also bringing in things like digital twins. It's also bringing in real IoT data for, to be able to simulate what's going on. It also goes beyond that and provides a city and, streams of revenue, opens up the doors for economic development, or like we saw in the education video, it could be bringing back to life historical sequences, or using it for educational purposes, or driving virtual tourism. But the point is that it's holistic and it doesn't just have one single purpose. It can potentially solve 10 problems at once. And this is one of the reasons why cities should strongly consider it.
And which cities is it deployed in? Don't dodge the question.
Yeah. No, good point. So we're already deployed in places like Montgomery, Alabama. There's other cities like Miami in Florida that are deploying it. And then we also can't ignore Ukraine. The Ukraine has opted to actually design all of the reconstruction efforts using a metaverse. So these are just 3 examples. But there are others that are growing every day.
Okay, you mentioned Ukraine, and that's a really wonderful example. And we can, anyone wants to know more, you can come and find me afterwards. But what are some sort of surprising ways that cities are using their digital twins or metaverse platforms? Has anything unexpected or outside of traditional urban planning come out?
Absolutely. In fact, I'll go back to Montgomery, Alabama. I think that's one of the most unique things. Most cities are more interested in the kind of urban planning and general economic development side, but Montgomery, Alabama, what they wanted to do is tell their story. And they used a visual twin of a part of the city to do that, but essentially created an experience where people could go and learn about the history of civil rights within the city. And it's a completely immersive experience driven by a combination of agentic and generative AI. But that was something really unique. Most cities are a lot more interested in just simply being more efficient, saving dollars and cents. They went a different way. Now that play is also an economic development play, and they're charging people to use that experience almost like a virtual field trip. But that was really unique. I hadn't seen that before.
Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit, because we always talk about urban metaverse, and as I'm the smart city director, that's my thing. But let's talk about industrial metaverse for a second. So how are manufacturers or logistics operators and infrastructure players actually using metaverse now? Is it something relevant?
Oh, absolutely. So essentially, when it comes to manufacturing, for instance, using digital twins is not something completely new. This is something that's already being deployed. There's several use cases out there, case studies. But when we go take it a step further and we apply that metaverse layer, that immersive layer, now we're able to be even more efficient. We can run simulations, we can do training. The biggest place where this is being deployed right now is in manufacturing. And we kind of see like metaverse factories. A good example of that is BMW. BMW did this a few years ago with a combination of a couple of different companies came together to do that, and their results have been fantastic. I don't have the actual stats right in front of me, but they saw a significant increase in efficiency, cost savings, lower, less errors, better safety scores. All of those things came as a result of that deployment.
Okay, so what else? Like, what sort of return of investment are these companies getting? In what areas?
So, yeah, good question. So when it comes to things like energy efficiency, 25 to 35% across the board. So these are because the system is constantly optimizing the energy output. It results in savings. We're also looking at up to 60% in savings regarding planning, just reducing errors, right? Mm-hmm. When we're building a factory, if we can build it all completely virtual first and actually test it running part for part, we're less likely to make mistakes when we actually build it physically.
It's very interesting you say that, because one thing that people have been talking about a lot recently is dark factories. In the previous panel, we mentioned robots that are coming. And of course, to make a robot work correctly, we need 3 types of artificial intelligence. We need generative AI, then agentic AI, and then the physical AI to make it happen. So what would you say? What would you say about agentic AI to the audience here? How important is it for everyone to have an agentic AI strategy?
Let me answer that question by saying it differently.
Sure.
If you don't have an agentic AI strategy, you're at risk, because this is just like if I was to talk to you 6 months ago, I would have said the same thing about generative AI. If you don't have a generative AI strategy and you're not using generative AI right now in your business, you're already behind and you're putting your organization at risk. Now we're moving into a place where agentic AI is the same. If you're not already looking at how you can deploy agentic AI in your organization, you're at risk of being left behind, because the younger, smaller, disruptive companies in your space, that's where they're looking right now to get an edge. So if you're not thinking about it, you could be displaced.
Okay, so with that in mind, like for companies that might be interested, or cities, do we have any kind of plug and play? Are we ready for that, to actually give these to cities in a way that's accessible and affordable?
Absolutely, and don't get me wrong, I'd love to get up here and just plug BizzTech all day, but for the purposes of being actually helpful and educational, there are companies all over the world that are building and deploying AI agents. And so it's not just, this is not just a BizzTech thing, right? This is huge companies like Salesforce, IBM, NVIDIA. They're all building agents, and they're helping companies create their own agents for their own purposes. So it's not just plug and play, but it's also the ability to kind of customize those agents for your organization. And it's only going to get easier to deploy as the technology evolves.
Okay, so easier to deploy and hopefully more affordable. But where are we going next? So what's the most exciting frontier between this AI, digital twin convergence we're having right now? What do you see happening in the next 12 months?
12 months, wow. Good question. So I think what we're going to see is huge disruptions in several different industries. There's some industries that are going to not see as much because they're, the robotics is a little bit behind. But companies that are digital first are going to see huge changes in their structure. Companies are going to have to take a hard look at the combination of metaverse and AI and see, is my workforce actually necessary? Is there some of the people that I'm employing right now for knowledge worker tasks, could that actually be replaced by an AI agent or a combination of generative and agentic AI? I think that all organizations that have a physical aspect to them need to strongly consider minimum digital twins, but really Metaverse-enhanced digital twins is really where we need to be looking, because that's where you're going to get the most value. And then I think that we're going to see a lot of the rest of the adoption there and the biggest disruptions could actually come from robotics, but that's not my space, so I'm not going to comment too much on that. I'll leave that to people who are a lot deeper in robotics. But that's a big unknown factor there.
Now, a very quick question, which we didn't plan, is you said Metaverse-enhanced digital twins. What is the enhancement?
Absolutely, yeah. So your digital twin structure. Not all digital twins are immersive. Some digital twins are simply 2D representations of a system of physical assets. But when we add a metaverse immersive layer, now that same digital twin becomes useful. That metaverse layer allows for things like immersive simulation. For instance, I'll go back to the example of a city just for this one. It's valuable to have a digital twin of the city to be able to visualize where is energy consumption happening, population density, what does traffic look like right now, how many cars are at intersection A, B, C, etc. But then to be able to dive in immersively and use that live data from the digital twin to run training or simulations. For instance, training emergency services. If I needed to get to an emergency right now, given the current traffic, how would I actually get there? That's when that metaverse layer really adds values, to be able to simulate using live data, but also synthetic data at the same time, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. So finally, because we're just running out of time, if you could give one bit of advice to a city or a company that are exploring these technologies for the first time, what would it be and where should they start?
Expand your idea of what it means to be innovative. If you're just now barely thinking about generative AI as your innovative strategy, you're already behind. So my advice would be to really look further than that, look beyond just generative AI, look at agentic AI, look at 3D immersive technology, and start diving into robotics as well, because all three of these technologies are really the same system in the future. What we know as the internet today, what it'll be in the next 10 years is all 3D, all AI, and all robotics. So start looking even further ahead, not just at generative AI today.
Okay, thank you very much, Jason. Before you go, I want to ask the audience one more time. Do you think that Metaverse is more of a useful tool? So hands up if I've changed your mind. That's more than we had at the beginning, I think. You can't see, so I'll say everyone put their hand up. So well done, Jason. And
fantastic.
Thank you very much, guys. Any questions, feel free to come and have a chat with me, and I will do my best. Okay, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Super cool. Jason is gone, right? So
Hey, he might still be there.
he might still hear us. So Jason, thank you very much for participating. And Joe, it was great as always.
Thank you very much.
Having you on stage. It was our pleasure.
I always struggle. I'm glad Jason could join us because, you know, we're such esteemed colleagues with professor and doctor titles, and I think my highest qualification is my driving license. So it's nice to have someone to back me up here.
So gentle, yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Okay, thank you very much.
See you again.